Here in the North Woods, anything is possible, including a surprise snowstorm in late April. We're backpacking through a brand new national forest that we've never explored before, to an old log cabin shelter perched high up on the banks of a wild and scenic river. Come along as we ride out the weather together, then explore one of the most unique stretches of trail I've come across in a long time. This is Tiny Cabin Life. We're in the Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest in northern Wisconsin, making our way into a very unique area. We're headed towards the wild and scenic Marengo River, but more specifically, an old log cabin shelter perched up on the riverbank. It should be the perfect home base for exploring this beautiful part of the forest.
Well, it's winter again, but that's not stopping us. We're in a brand new national forest that we've never been to. We're back out on the North Country Trail, which is a long distance hiking trail that makes its way through the northern part of the United States. This little part of the trail that we're on today is really, really unique. Not only are there multiple overlooks, just high points where you get up and can see for miles and miles, but there's also some history here. We're gonna be visiting an old Swedish settlement from back in the 1800s.
We've been slowly going uphill this entire hike. However, the incline changes dramatically as we make our way towards an overlook of the river valley.
Trail's a little covered. Let's see if there's an easier way. Whew. Man, you can see how much it truly is snowing when you get out of the forest and out in the open like this. We're very, very high up here, and looks like this is a cliff face that drops all the way down. And with the ice and snow, I definitely don't want to get close to the edge. Thankfully from here, we're only about a half a mile away from our shelter, so what do you say we get there and get out of this weather?
From here, the trail is all downhill as we make our way towards the river.
All right, it looks like we made it to the river. I see our bridge right up here. Now there's supposedly a spur trail very close by here that's gonna take us over to our cabin. Ooh, it looks like Ellie just found it. Is this the trail girl? It looks like it. If this turns out to be the trail and Ellie found it, she's getting extra treats tonight, because that'd be pretty cool. This does not seem like a trail. Sorry girl, I don't think this is the way. I'll still give you extra treats though. Here she is. Now let's hope this thing is in decent shape. Oh yeah. Oh, this looks real nice. Wow. This is easily one of the nicest shelters I've ever seen. And I love seeing the elevated wood floor. Oh, it makes such a difference.
Now that we're here at the shelter, it's time to set up our gear, but even before we do that, I have to get some dry clothes on.
It doesn't matter how many layers you have on, if you're wet, you're never gonna get warm. And so it's imperative to bring an extra change of clothes at least when you're going out like this.
The cabin here provides great shelter from the wet, heavy snow that's coming down. It sits up on top of a hill overlooking the river here and has everything that we need to enjoy the day and night. I'm storing my food in this bag here, which is made of linked metal. That way my food will be protected against mice or other critters that tend to hang out around these shelters. Now with my food stored properly, it's time to set up all my gear inside the cabin. There is a fire ring right outside of the shelter, and my hope is to have a fire later on in the day if things dry up. I'm also planning to do some fishing, which has me very excited. Dear God, thank you for this time out in the woods. Help us to stay safe tonight. Amen.
For lunch today, I decided to go with something very, very simple, just some meat and cheese on flatbread, but I did add a little bit of tomato sauce, so that should make it taste really, really good.
At this point, the temperature had warmed up enough to where our snow had turned into steady rain.
I'm really grateful for this short little path down to the river, especially because this is where we're getting our drinking water. We're gonna have to filter it, and it's nice that we won't have to go too far to do that.
It's early trout season here in Wisconsin, and so I figured I might as well throw on a little spinner and see if I can't catch something. Before the official season starts, you're only allowed to catch and release, so unfortunately, even if I catch something, I won't be able to eat it.
This isn't really the best spot to fish, at least right now, because there aren't really any accessible pools from the shoreline, and the water itself is too deep for me to get in and wade, at least with the boots I have on right now. But I gotta say, regardless, it feels pretty good to be out here casting a few lines, especially having a half a day of snow.
After having no luck by the cabin here, I figured we might as well hike around and see if we can't find a better spot.
So we're gonna give this one more shot down by where the bridge is, just to see if the riverbank is a little more accessible than it was back there. It was really hard to find places to cast or even stand for that matter. So hopefully it's a little more wide open. I think it was, if my memory serves me right, but we'll find out shortly. Well, that spot down there looks good. And it also looks like there's a spot on the other side of the riverbank as well. Oh wow, take a look at this campsite here. Right on the riverbank here in the pines. Doesn't get much better than that. I forget all the time that people actually hike this whole trail and they really rely on these campsites. It's just so mind-boggling to think of people trekking through these woods, especially during the summertime when those mosquitoes and ticks and everything are in full force.
I decided to give the fishing pole a rest this time and rather just sit back and enjoy the moment.
All right, everybody, I want to take a quick moment to show you a brand new piece of gear that we're testing out on this trip, something that I'm so stoked to have along on this adventure. What I have right here is a pair of night vision goggles. They are the AKASO Seymour 200 and they are AI full color night vision goggles. There's so many different night vision products out on the market today, and let's face it, most of the products out there are so expensive that no one can really afford them anyway. These guys right here are extremely cost effective, but on top of that, what I love is they're designed for nighttime wildlife viewing. The Seymour 200s are ultra low light, full color with 99% color reproduction. AKASO is one of the first companies to apply an AI ISP technology to night vision goggles. It's a technology that's been used a lot in the automotive navigation industry. There are multiple color modes as well. You can go with the AI full color mode or switch to 7-level IR mode. They also record at a 4K image quality, so you're able to save what you see at a very, very high quality. And you can see for a very long distance with these things. We're talking 500 meters or over 1,600 feet of clear vision. But what I love is how long the batteries last. With both of them together, you get 8 hours of use. That means you could sit out here all night basically and see what's going on.
These night vision goggles are perfect for our cabins, not only being able to keep tabs on what's happening outside at night, but also to be able to see the wildlife that's coming through on a nightly basis.
So if you guys want to check out the AKASO Seymour 200 night vision goggles, all you got to do is follow the link in the description of this video. I think they're really cool and definitely worth checking out.
Finally, the rain stopped, and it seemed as though we were in the clear for the rest of the day. I'm refilling our water supply using my backpacking filter here. These things are amazing, making basically any source of water safe to drink. Now with the sun out and that chore out of the way, we can finally get out and see this old homestead.
I'm so excited to see this old homestead. I just love when nature and human history intersects. You know, old ghost towns, old ruins, things like that are just super fascinating to me. And it's so cool to be able to kind of step back in time into people's shoes who were here long before us. Man, not a bad place to call home. It is beautiful in here. Wow. This is so cool. I cannot believe how intact this structure is, but also this foundation over here.
This is the Gust Well and Homestead, which was 160 acres here in the Marengo River Valley. He and his wife Ida, who was nicknamed Mountain Goat for her ability to run up and down the valley here, settled in this area to grow crops and raise livestock. The remnants of their lives here are on display for hikers on the North Country Trail and gives insight into what life was like here for immigrants in the early 1900s.
So this all right here was their house. In fact, the deepest part that we're seeing right here is believed to have been storage underneath the kitchen. Now this structure over here, the only one that is still fully standing today is the spring house. And the reason it's still standing is because it's made of concrete. Now it was made of concrete not only to protect the spring, the source of the water, but also to provide a cool place for them to store their milk in the summertime. So this building right here was very, very important to them. And it's so cool to see it still standing.
Scattered throughout the area are the remnants of other structures, and you can actually make your way to other parts of the settlement and check out other homesteads as well. However, none of them are quite as intact as the Welland homestead here. We headed back to the shelter and started to get settled in for evening.
I'm running out of light here fast, so I'm gonna just whip up my dinner on the camp stove. Well guys, the sun is officially down and I'm really hungry, so this is gonna be great. I did bring a fried egg that I was gonna add to this for some protein, but I forgot the oil in my truck. So Unfortunately, it's straight noodles, and I may have to have some more of that meat that I brought earlier if I want some protein. Oh yeah, that is very, very good.
After hanging out by the fire for a while, it was time to get into bed. All right, everybody, it is time to hit the hay. Today was just an awesome day. I cannot believe all the things we got to do here. And so with that, I think I'm going to get all tucked in, and we'll see you bright and early in the morning. Good night.
Good morning. I slept really, really well last night. I think I got like over 8 hours of sleep, like 8.5, which is really good for me. So, I'm feeling pretty good. Suppose I should get up and get the coffee going.
Well, I have to say this has been pretty awesome. I just love staying in these old shelters. And I can say by far, this is the best one we've ever stayed in. But unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end. Just going to enjoy a little bit more coffee, and then we'll pack up and start heading out.
All right, we're making our way back to the truck with a very short detour at the Overlook that we stopped at yesterday on the way in, just to see what the view really looks like.
With a clear view today, you can really see how grand and vast this landscape is. And tucked away down at the bottom of the valley, you can just barely see the river that we left behind. Standing up here is the perfect way to cap off an incredible adventure.
Well, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for coming along. This was an awesome one. I cannot believe once again we were out in the snow, but man, that shelter was so nice, and this trail is truly unique to not only have overlooks and rivers and streams, but to also have that Swedish settlement, which is just like an awesome picture of our history here. It's just such a cool area, and I'm so grateful that we got to get out and explore it. I want to give a quick shout out, as always, to our patrons who generously donate to this channel. But again, I want to thank all of you who watch, subscribe, comment, all of it. You guys are the reason we get to do this on a weekly basis, and I'm just so grateful. Now, I want to give you a heads up that I am on a short little road trip here. I'm headed further east to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan to the Porcupine Mountains to stay in a backcountry cabin there, and I'm so excited. So stay tuned next week for that video. But for right now, I've got some driving to do. We'll see you next week. God bless.